Hey yo, God bless y'all. Peace and blessings. I'm Jarvis Kingston. I hope y'all doing all right in these perilous times that we're in. Now today I want to just discuss a little short, quick message. I want to discuss about anarchy. You see a lot of anarchists going on, a lot of Marxist movements, a lot of liberal movements, a lot of conservative movements. You see all these groups, you see like Black Lives Matter and the Proud Boys and all these different people, man, all these divided groups or whatnot, you see a lot of anarchy going on really hard in America. We've been seeing it these past years, basically all these decades, but it's become very, very strong in 2020 since last year, like how 2020 was last year. It was just awful with that, but now this anarchy is a bit more different. You know what I mean? And another thing to add to is that whole situation at the Capitol. When they attacked the whole Capitol thing, that was like anarchy as well. You're starting to see how people are tired of the government. They're tired of authorities. They're tired of politician leaders, political leaders. People are just tired of and fed up of it. They have lost trust in authority. They have lost trust in leadership. So what they're doing now is they're just totally rebelling and totally going against the grain, going against authority, just saying, forget this system, to hell with it, and just destroy it. All the rioting, all the violence, all the protesting, the marches, the fights and everything just going down. It's very crazy and sad to see, but that just shows you, a nation divided against a nation cannot stand. This goes back to the previous message I just discussed about judgment and karma on America. America's going to eat itself up. America's going to destroy itself. Just as a group of random people have just built this whole system and gathered it all like this, it's going to fall and be destroyed the same manner. America has to get its judgment. America has to get its karma. And the main way it's going to happen is through anarchy. All these groups and people are building themselves up, but they're going to fall right back down, And everyone's so at odds with each other and so different based off of a political ideology or a political group that they're into or a different belief system or whatnot. But everyone is totally at odds with each other. And everyone is just saying, like, to hell with this country and just burn it up. And they're going to destroy it. You're going to see much more riots, much more chaos, much more crazy things. You're going to see more like mass shootings and riots and all that crazy stuff, And man, we in some crazy times in America, bro. And there's anarchy also going on in these many different countries and nations as well. Because, other countries have a different government system and different prime ministers and all that. And the laws and authority in different countries are a bit more strict and harsher. In America, it has its ways, but at least we have some type of freedom and leeway. In these other countries, there's like no freedom, no leeway. So these people in other countries, they're totally rebelling against the authorities as well. And there's a lot of chaos in these other countries as well, man, And it's just crazy out here, man. I pray to God that you all do not join any of these groups, just be true to who you are. Just stay to yourself, stick to your loved ones and keep it at that. Don't join these movements and these Marxist groups, these liberal conservative groups. Don't join any of that stuff. Don't follow traditions of men. Follow Jesus, follow Christ. Do things the way the Most High would want you to do it. Don't do things the world wants you to do. All this social media activism, all of this hashtags, all this movements, all this writing, it's all anarchy. That's not God's way or God's order of handling things. You feel me? And all this stuff has been prophesied as well. So I'm going to read some scriptures about anarchy and just go from there. All right. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 12. The man who acts presumptuously by not listening to the priest who stands there to serve the Lord your God, nor to the judge, that man shall die. Thus you shall purge that evil from Israel. The book of Ezra, chapter 7, verse 26. Whoever will not observe the law of your God and the law of the king, let judgment be executed upon him strictly, whether for death or for banishment or for confiscation of goods or for imprisonment. The book of Ezra, chapter 10, verse 8. And that whoever would not come within 3 days, according to the counsel of the leaders and the elders, all his possessions should be forfeited, and he himself excluded from the assembly of the exiles. The book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 2. Therefore, whoever resists authority has opposed the ordinance of God, and they who have opposed will receive condemnation upon themselves. The book of Jude, chapter 1, verse 8. Yet in the same way these men also by dreaming defile the flesh, and reject authority, and revile angelic majesties. The book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 5 through 8. And the people will be oppressed, each one by another, and each one by his neighbor. The youth will storm against the elder, and the inferior against the honorable. When a man lays hold of his brother in his father's house, saying, You have a cloak, you shall be our ruler, and these ruins will be under your charge. He will protest on that day, saying, I will not be your healer, for in my house there is neither bread nor cloak. You shall not appoint me ruler of the people. For Jerusalem has stumbled and Judah has fallen, because their speech and their actions are against the Lord, to rebel against his glorious presence. The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 13. For you were called to freedom, brethren. Only do not turn your freedom into an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another. The book of 2 Peter, chapter 2, verse 10 through 19. And especially those who indulge in the flesh in its corrupt desires and despise authority, daring self-will, they do not tremble when they revile angelic majesties, whereas angels who are greater in might and power do not bring a reveling judgment against them before the Lord. But these, like unreasoning animals, born as creatures of instinct to be captured and killed, reveling where they have no knowledge, will in the destruction of those creatures also be destroyed, suffering wrong as the wages of doing wrong. They count it a pleasure to revel in the daytime. They are stains and blemishes, reveling in their deceptions as they carouse with you, having eyes full of adultery that never cease from sin, enticing unstable souls, having a heart trained in greed, accursed children, forsaken the right way. They have gone astray, having followed the way of Balaam, the son of Beor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, but he received a rebuke for his own transgression. For a mute donkey, speaking with the voice of a man, restrained the madness of the prophet. These are springs without water, and mist driven by a storm, for whom the black darkness has been reserved. For speaking out arrogant words of vanity, they entice by fleshly desires, by sensuality, those who barely escape from the ones who live in error, promising them freedom, while they themselves are slaves of corruption. For by what a man is overcome, by this he is enslaved. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12, verse 8. You shall not do all what we are doing here today, every man doing whatever right is in his own eyes. The book of Judges, chapter 17, verse 6. In those days there was no king in Israel. Every man did what was right in his own eyes. The book of Judges, chapter 21, verse 25. In those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. The book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 2. So I will incite Egyptians against Egyptians, and they will each fight against his brother, and each against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. The book of Hosea, chapter 10, verse 3. Surely now they will say, We have no king, for we do not revere the Lord. As for the king, what can he do for us? The book of Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 14. Why have you made men like the fish of the sea, like creeping things without ruler over them? The book of Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 13. It will come about in that day that a great panic from the Lord will fall on them, and they will seize on one another's hand, and the hand of one will be lifted against another. So as you can see there, you see a lot of it in the Old Testament, New Testament, but especially in the Old Testament, because in the Old Testament, they always had issues with a king that has risen and a king that has failed. So there would always be a lot of disagreements and a lot of fighting over that. But you fast forward today, nothing new's under the sun. You see how everyone was so divided over Biden, over Trump. You see that? And this whole election stuff and this whole governor stuff and the Senate and all that. You saw how divided people were over that? That just shows you how anarchy has risen higher and higher in this world. And overseas in many different countries, that anarchy and chaos is much crazy because of the switching of authority and power, the switching of prime ministers or presidents. Those things always cause division and an uproar among people. And we all know what's going on with that whole Afghanistan thing. That's just crazy what they got going on over there. Very crazy, man. I see it all over the news and on Twitter and everything. I'm just like, wow, it's wild out here. But that's going to come to America as well, man. I'm telling you, all these countries are all going to eat each other up through violence and corruption, man. And, I pray to God that y'all be safe out here in these last days, man. Y'all defend yourselves. Y'all get in shape. Y'all get ready for anything, man. Be ready to protect yourself and others around you, because this is a very chaotic, violent anarchy world we're in, man. So we have to really defend ourselves and know how to throw down, protect ourselves, So I pray to God that whoever listens to this message gets baptized and start their life over for Christ and get a new beginning and a new life, And yeah, man, it's crazy out here, man. All this anarchy, all this violence, all this rioting, all this division, man. We got to get it together for Christ. Let us not follow this world, man. Let this world destroy itself, and let us rebuild our relationship with the Most High. Let us be restored. Let us have it together with the Lord, and let us fellowship together. Let us link up and, praise the Lord together, pray together. Talk about things together. Go out and eat together, pray about things, have multiple topics to discuss about. So I'm Jarvis Kingston, man. I got much love for y'all. God bless y'all. Peace.